Good afternoon and welcome to the spectacular capital city of Hungary, host city to the 19th FINA World Championships. Two historic communities, Buda and Pest, the waters of the Danube, bringing them together and binding them as one, the cultural and dynamic city now known to the world as Budapest. Well, 5 years ago we were here witnessing one of the most memorable sporting events of recent times, and now we're back with the 2022 FINA World Championships. And we are right here in the heart of the championships. That is the Duna Arena, this week's home to the greatest divers on the planet. Yes, welcome along to this magnificent arena as we move into the second day of diving on this 10th day overall of the FINA World Championship action. We had our first final yesterday. China made it a winning start from Great Britain and Germany. China beginning what shapes as another very successful World Championships, as we've seen so often over many years. All of that since their breakthrough performances back in the 90s. We're about to see the semi-final of the men's 3-metre springboard, and we'll see, well, the biggest names in the world in action here. We will see the silver medalist and the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games in Tokyo last year, and we'll also see the silver medalist from Gwangju in Chao Yuan, who's already a gold medalist here in the championships yesterday in the synchronised springboard event. Later on, we'll have the women's 10 metres platform final, and of course we'll have the victory ceremony for that event later on to close the program. So an interesting few hours ahead of us, and can't wait to get it started. Yes, the semi-final of this men's 3-metre springboard, it was an enthralling competition this morning. We had 55 starters, and we've made it through to the last 18. Of course, the top 12 go through to the final, and the fastest or the highest scoring through to this semi-final stage is a man who took the gold medal yesterday in that 3-metre synchro with Chao Yuan. I'm referring to his teammate there in Wang Zhonwan, the 20-year-old, and he was a gold medalist in Gwangju in the 1-metre, and now he's looking to get himself into the final and take gold in this 3-metre event as well. Jack Law of Great Britain, he was right up there as well, so not much between that pair, and Chao Yuan, I mentioned, was in third place. And let's meet them then. And the first, it's going to be the 24-year-old from Japan, Haruki Suyama. He made it through at position 18. Carlos Escalona of Cuba, the 24-year-old. So he gets himself into the semi-finals here. This is the Italian. We saw him in action yesterday, Lorenzo Massalia, 25 years of age. And then the next competitor also competing yesterday, Guillaume Dutoit of Switzerland, at 26 years of age. He competed in this event in Gwangju, didn't make the semi-final stage on that occasion. There's Alex Hart, the 23-year-old from Austria. Some good dives from him a few hours ago. Here is Alberto Aravaso of Spain. He's from Madrid. Jules Boyer of France, 19 years of age, so one of the youngest in this field. They're from Great Britain. One of two British divers to make it through to this stage, Jordan Holden. Sebastian Morales of Colombia, who competed in the Tokyo Olympics. He made it through to the semi-final stage. Here's Maritz Wiesemann, 20-year-old German. Also through is Yona Knight Wisdom, now 27. He's been on the international scene for quite some time, the Jamaican. Brazil represented here with a good placing going through to the semi-final stage. Rafael Forgacha, 18 years of age, so he is the youngest. Alexis Gunjard of France. And we're getting down to the higher scorers from the preliminary round here. Sakai, 29-year-old from Japan. Luis Uribe, we saw him yesterday in that synchronized event. He's just 20 years of age, and he's qualified with the 4th highest score here. So China with 2 big chances here. Cha Yuan, the silver medalist from Guangzhou. Jack Law, the second of the British divers. Silver medalist in yesterday's final. He's right up there with the Chinese. And here is the man who impressed most of all in the preliminary round. That is Wang Zhongwan, 20-year-old. So already with a gold medal to his name. There's 55 of them started this morning, down to 18, and ultimately we'll get down to 12 in a couple of hours from now, and we'll work out who goes through to the final. So as we meet the officials here. Yes, China have won this event a record 8 times, including at each of the last 7 World Championships. Alex Depatie of Canada broke that run. He was the most recent non-Chinese athlete to win back in 2005. The judges panel, panel A first of all. So it should be a really good semi-final here. Later on this evening, of course, we've got that final for the women, the first of the women's finals. That is the 10-metre platform. We saw Jack Law a moment ago. He's finished on the podium at 4 of the last 5 global events, and by that we mean the World Championships and the Olympic Games. Bronze in 2015 in Kazan, and also Guangzhou. Olympic silver in Rio, and Olympic bronze in Tokyo. He was 5th in 2017 when the championships were last staged here in Budapest. So he is one to really watch out for, and he's been able to split the 2 Chinese swimmers, or divers I should say, going through that preliminary round. Please excuse me about the swimmer bit. We had 8 days of swimming at this very centre up until a couple of days ago. The swimmers have gone home though, and of course the divers are strutting their stuff here as we have a look at that starting list. The semi-final, the men's 3-metre springboard. In the preliminaries, Wang ended up with a score of 492, so he was 34 points clear of Law, and he was some 73 points clear of Chow. So it was a dominant performance there. He missed one of his dives though, so he'll be looking to go spot on perfect here this evening. So we're going to get things underway. Haruki Suyama to kick off proceedings. Nice start there for Suyama. Forward 3.5 somersault in that pike position.
7, 7, 8, 7.5, 7, 7, 7.
Comfortable start there with sevens.
Representing Cuba, Escalona. Back to the house of someone's piped.
Escalona with his first dive. Starting with this back 2.5 somersault. The 24-year-old from Cuba gets his competition underway. Massalia, 25-year-old. He competed at the last World Championships. He just missed out on the semi-finals then, so he's done better this time. He scored pretty well with this dive in the preliminaries with sevens and 7.5s, and looks like it's going to be much the same here. In fact, an identical score, 66-65 for Massalia. Dutoit was in that 3-metre synchro final with Jonathan Suka. They finished in 4th placing, just out of the medal, so that was a good performance by this pair. And he's off to a pretty good start here. 61.5 for Dutoit. Inward 2.5 somersault, 3.0 degree of difficulty here for Alex Hart. '23-year-old Austrian. This was his lowest scoring dive in the preliminaries, so looking to pick up some points here, and it looks like he has. We'll just check that score on Hart. Yes, 63. Well, he had sixes for a total of 54 this morning, so he's off to a good start. Rafael will be comfortable enough, I think, there with that start. Should be more than comfortable listening to those scores coming through. Some 8s, 70.5. Again, a significant improvement on that dive that he executed this morning. Bouillet, this 19-year-old from France. won the gold medal at the World Juniors in the 1 metre springboard just last year. So he's certainly a diver of the future, and he'll be eyeing off the Paris Olympics in a couple of years' time, I'm sure.
Representing Great Britain,
He scores 59.5. Now, Holden of Great Britain. Of course, he's got his credentialed teammate in the field as well, Jack Law. Didn't quite hold it as long as he would have liked there, but he's on the board now. It was 3.4 degree of difficulty. His forward 2.5 somersaults, the 2 twists in there. Scores of 5 and 5.5, total of 54.4. Sebastian Morales Mendoza, 27-year-old from Colombia. His second appearance here after competing in the final last night of the 3 metre synchro with his teammate there, Luis Uribe, who we'll see later on. So 2 Colombians making it through to this point of the competition, 61.2. Now, Wiesemann, 20-year-old German. He was pretty solid this morning. He had one excellent dive that brought him almost 80 points. And that was something of recovery after just losing a bit of ground with the dive before that. Here, he starts with 71.4. Well, that is a 10-point improvement already on his first round dive in the preliminaries. Yona Knight Wisdom. Nice start there for Yona. He is a big, strong man, isn't he? 6'2", 188 centimetres, around 90 kilos. He gets so much strength and power off the board as he goes through with those 3.5 somersaults. Score of 72.85. A very good start there for Knight Wisdom. Forgacha. And a very good start as well for the Brazilian here. 3.1 degree of difficulty, and he makes a nice entry. 6 rounds, of course. 60.45. Yandad. He was a semi-finalist at the Olympic Games. And he's already done much better here than he did in Gwangju when he finished in 26th position. So through to the top 18 here. Let's have a look at that score, 63. Not quite matching the score he had in the preliminaries. 29 years of age. Sho Sakai. Nice entry. Two-time bronze medalist at the Asian Games, including in this event back 8 years ago. So he's an experienced diver, and he starts with a 70.5. Well, he finished in the top 4 in terms of the standings there with the preliminaries. And in that first round dive this morning, 64.6. Better start here, 66.3. First of the Chinese. Chow Yuan. Gold medalist in the 3-metre synchro with Wang. Oh, yes. Forward 2.5 somersault, 2 twists, 3.4 degree of difficulty. And there's going to be some good marks posted here. An excellent start by the first of the 2 Chinese. 81.6. Jack Law. Very good start there for Law as well. He is coming off that good performance last night with a silver medal in that 3-metre synchro. See what the judges thought of that. 74.8. A slight improvement on the score he registered this morning on his way to that total of 457. Now here's Wang. Chow got off to a great start. He leads with 81.6. What can Wang do here? The Olympic silver medalist brings his form from this morning right here into this semi-final. Barely a splash as he goes in there. Let's have a look at it. Well, it was 86.7 this morning. Now it's an identical score. And that is the best of the scores we've seen so far in this first round. Scores after round 1. Wang and Chow leading the way from Law and Night Wisdom in 4th placing. th Austria and France at the moment. Hart and Jandad. And they've got a little bit of work to do, but it's only round 1.
Second round of jobs. Haruki Suyama. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists Hart.
Start of the second round. Suyama was 10th after his first round dive. Very nice. "24-year-old. Let's look at those scores. Yeah, the coach is certainly happy.
Escalona. Reverse 3.5 somersaults with top.
Well, that wasn't pretty. He struggled with this dive this morning. This was his lowest scoring dive, this reverse 3.5 somersault. And this is not going to win him too many plaudits from the judges, unfortunately. Just couldn't get anywhere near the vertical there. Score of 14, he'd be very disappointed. He would have taken this morning's score, given that. That was a 47. Masalia. Now, this was one of his better dives he executed in making it through to the semi-final. Interesting to see if he can match that 71.4. 25-year-old Italian.
7, 6.5, 7.
Looks like he'd go pretty close to that score I mentioned. Comes up with 69.7. So pretty much identical. Duchois was back there in 13th place. Still early stages, of course, but the top 12 go through, so there'll be keen interest in divers in positions round about 9 through 15 throughout the competition. He comes up with a score of 55.8 here. Hart with his second dive, forward 2.5 somersault, 1 twist. And a very nice dive there from Hart, and certainly the coaches are more than satisfied with that. It should be an improvement, I think, on his dive this morning.
7.5.
That was at 58.5. This one here. Brings up 61.5. We'll take any improvement. Aravalo now. 6 after the first round. This forward 3.5 somersault pike. 3.1 degree of difficulty. Oh, yes. Nice entry. This fellow from Madrid specialising in this event. 3-metre springboard. Score of 66.65 with 7s and a 7.5 in there. Now, Jules Bouillet of France. Gets himself into a good position and gets the support of his coach there, 65.1. So now, Jordan Holden. He's won a bronze medal at the European Championships, this 23-year-old. No doubt inspired by Jack Law and, of course, over the years since he appeared as a youngster at the Beijing Olympic Games, Tom Daley really bringing ahead a new group of divers in Great Britain. 74.8, that is an excellent return. Reverse 3.5 somersault here for Morales. He was 18th in Tokyo, so making it through to the semi-final stage, and he made it through to the final of this event in Gwangju 3 years ago. 61.25. 5.5 and the sixes count there. Wiesmann of Germany, this 20-year-old. Plenty of height off the board there, got himself into a position for his somersaults. And he comes up with a very nice dive. Good scoring dive as well. 71.75 with a 6.5 and 2 sevens. Yona Knight Wisdom, born in Leeds. He's been representing Jamaica for quite some time. He's become the mainstay of the Jamaican team. In fact, he's the first Jamaican to dive at the Olympic Games. Now 27 years of age, two-time Olympian.
Rafael Forgacha, inward 3.5 somersaults with the top.
63 the total there. 135 for the 2 rounds. Rafael Forgacha. Well, he was 15th after the first round, and he should move up a placing or two with that dive.
7, 6.5, 7, 7, 6.5, 6, 7.
Well, he comes up with some good scores there from the judges. 69.7, a 2-round total of 130. That was around 12 points better than his dive this morning. Now the Frenchman. The Undad, the 25-year-old semi-finalist in Tokyo last year.
7.5, 7, 7.5, 7. Reverse 2.5 somersaults height.
66.65 from the judges. And a big smile on his face as well. Sakai didn't want to wait around. He was keen to get on with it. This reverse 2.5 somersault. He was ranked 3rd after a very good opening round. 67.5. So he'll stay around that top half a dozen, 138 in total. Luis Uribe, 3.9 degree of difficulty. Oh, yes. He's going to score well there. That was the highest scoring dive we've seen so far. Forward 2.5 somersault, the 3 twists.
7.5, 7.5, 7, 7,
as we see him come out of the twists and record a very happy score there of 81.9. Excellent work. Now Chow. Well, he didn't quite nail it this morning. It was one of his lower scoring dives. Mind you, it was still, he's still got 6.5s and 7s, but a total of 70. This is a 3.5 degree of difficulty. And he just can't quite execute it here either. 64.75. 146. Remembering, of course, this isn't the medal round. This is a case of getting through to the medal round. Jack Law. Jack Law with his second dive. This reverse 3.5 somersault. There they go. 1, 2, and the 3.5. And a good score coming up. 82.25 for Law. He'll continue to put the pressure on the two Chinese competitors. And here's the second of them, Wang. 3.5 degree of difficulty. This 20-year-old from China, he's absolutely sensational. He won the silver medal in Tokyo, gold in the 3-meter synchro in Tokyo. Of course, already a gold medalist here, and he's going along nicely. 85.75, an 8.5 and 2 8s counting there.
2 rounds of dance complete, and once again this
Scores after round 2, Wang and Law first and second. Uribe's moved up past Chow now, so he's in third, Chow back in fourth, and then Wiesemann. And this interesting point. So at 9, it's 136, and at 15, 124. So we've got 12 points separating those 7 positions there. Unfortunately, Escalona missed out badly with his second round dive, so he's back there in 18th place.
Haruki Suyama, England 3.5.
Start of round 3 now. 3.4 degree of difficulty. He's going along nicely in 6th placing at the moment. He only just scraped into the top 18. That was largely by virtue of this dive that he missed this morning. He scored only 39 then, so he was really concentrating to do better here, and he's done much better. So he's collected about another 20-odd points from the corresponding dive this morning. That will help. Now, Escalona, let's hope that he's feeling confident after that disappointing second dive. Much, much, much better. That was a lovely entry. Barely a splash at all. Forward 3.5 somersault in the pike position. 3.1 degree of difficulty. And he's going to score nicely here. Yeah, 69.75. What a difference one dive makes. 7.5s count. So the Italian here. Just came up a bit short there, Lorenzo. You see him go through those somersaults, 2.5, and he just ran out of air before he collected the water. 48 there, 5 and 5.5s. Dutoit back there in 17th place. This is one of his big dives, 3.8. And he should get some good points, I would have thought. There was a bit of water, not quite at the vertical, but it is a difficult dive. The higher scoring the dive, the bigger the risk, and this was his most difficult on the program. 74.1. It's a good return. Hart now in 15th. Made it through quite comfortably. 3.1 degree of difficulty. So it's not an especially high scoring dive, but he's got 7s from the judges. 65.1. Aravalo currently in the top 10. Carried 3.4 degree of difficulty as far as Aravalo is concerned. Good scores from the judges coming up. 6.5 and 2 7s count. Now, Bouillet needing some good dives here. He's back in 14th place. This was a 3.0 degree of difficulty as he works his way through, and just not quite the entry that he would have been looking for. 63 the total.
Holden, reverse 3.5 centimetre.
Holden's got a couple of big dives still to come. In fact, 3 of them. He's gone 3.5 here with this reverse 3.5 somersault tuck. Yes, he's got a 3.9 still to come, a 3.6 and a 3.8. So he's got some big scoring dives. Currently in 13th placing, and he gets some good points here to consolidate his position. Comes up with 73.5 with 7s. 3.6 here from Morales, back 3.5 somersault tuck. He's working hard to try to hold it. 59.4. We might lose a spot or two as we approach the halfway mark here. Wiesmann with a forward 2.5 somersault, 2 twists, currently in the top 6. No damage done there whatsoever, so he'll get some more good scores here. He's had 2 good dives leading up to this point. Now he gets a score of 71.4. The 7's counting here, a 3-round total of 214. Knight Wisdom. 10th after the first 2 rounds. This at 3.4. There wasn't much water coming up as he entered. Yona Knight Wisdom, this big man, as I mentioned, born in Leeds and representing the homeland of his parents, his mother, in fact. 69.7. 6.5 and 7's there. 3.8 degree of difficulty here for the Brazilian. Oh yes, 4.5 somersaults. That was delightful. Watch him spin with great speed and urgency through the air, and he scores very well at 3.8 degree of difficulty. 79.8. Very good. Well, Yandart's right on that cut-off point. 12th after the first 2 rounds. And he's going to stay in the danger territory here because he didn't quite execute it as he had planned. 58.5. That could hurt. Sakai at 3.4. He was pretty consistent throughout the preliminaries. He managed 6.5s for this dive. It's going to be much the same here, you'd think. In fact, an identical score, 66.3. Now, Uribe. Uribe was terrific with this dive this morning. Had it right until the death. Just fell away slightly. It's interesting to see what the judges come up with. Yes, he scored a total of 83 this morning, so it looks like this is going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him badly. He drops 30 points on that dive. Now Chow. Beautiful entry. Reverse 3.5 somersault tuck. at 3.5. He slipped back into fourth placing after his second dive. Uribe was ahead of him, but of course Uribe is going to slip down the rankings a little. 78.75. The 7.5s count. Now Jack Law. In splendid form yet again. We expect that with Jack Law. He has been such a wonderful competitor for quite some years now. The 27-year-old silver medalist in the 3-metre synchro, and here he is with a score of 81.6. 238 is the 3-round total here for Law. This is the most difficult dive we've seen so far. 3.9. Sensational. The forward 2.5 somersault. There were 3 twists in there. And he is going to score some big points here. Our competition leader, 93.6, 3/8 counting, 266 is the 3-round total. The scores here after 3 rounds: Wang and Law and Chow moving back into third, Wieseman up to fourth, 266 and 238. The leading and second leading scores there. Position 12 at 191, so 10 points. It is behind position 11. That's Uribe, who dropped right down from third down to 11th placing. As far as the others are concerned, well, Hart is now just under 2 points behind Dutoit, who's holding down 12th. And Yandard is only a point further back. And a point further back as well is the Frenchman there, and that is Bouillet. So you've got 187 through to 191, positions 15 through 12, and also 184 there. And that's Marsalia. We're up to the 4th round. Back 2.5 somersault in the pike position here for Suyama. .0 degree of difficulty. Suyama. I'd like to have straightened it up just a little there. A dive score of 57. So Carlos now, Carlos Escalona, with this inward 3.5 somersault. Still trying to recover from that disappointing dive earlier in round 2. He made up points in round 3, but he's still back in 18th placing. Tried desperately to hold it on entry. He scored well with this dive this morning. Let's see what he came up with here. 64.6. Marsalia back in the pack, chasing a top 12. He's 16th. That won't help his cause, unfortunately. It was a 3.5 degree difficulty, and he just couldn't get himself into the position he needed. So Lorenzo won't be happy with that. A 33.25. Dutoit can feel them breathing down his neck in 12th placing. 3 dives remaining as far as he's concerned. And that'll keep the pressure on. This reverse 3.5 somersault, tuck. Found himself in an awkward position. So 52.5. And he's going to need something special in his last 2 dives here. Alex Hart now. He's one of those breathing down the neck of Dutoit at 13th. This 3.0. Well, the coaches are giving it plenty of applause there. Back 2.5 somersaults. Perhaps they were trying to get the judges on side. 40.5. Now, Aravalo's been going along very comfortably. This at 3.6, the back 3.5 somersault. It's a good scoring dive in the preliminary round. How will the judges see this one? Not quite at the vertical. 55.8, so he's going to slip back a touch. He scored 70.2 earlier today.
Reverse 1.5 somersaults, 3.5 twists, free position. Addition on wetland
Bouillet. This reverse 1.5 somersault with 3.5 twists. This was his best dive, high scoring. And that's going to score well here as also. 78.75 this morning to really lift him up the rankings. That's just about level with his earlier score there. So 77, that's a good effort. Jordan Holden now of Great Britain. Tough dive, a lot on the line here at 3.9. Just didn't quite hold it at the end there. The forward 2.5 somersault. There were 3 twists. The entry so important. So it may have been A good scoring dive earlier, not so much here. 56.55. He just ran out of room and clutching his head. He's disappointed. Let's have another look at it. Those 4.5 somersaults and the water came at him too quickly. 34.2. Fourth placing at the moment, Wieseman. Carrying 3.6 degree of difficulty. And he had the chance here to pick himself right up, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, score 37.8. Well, he's got 2 rounds to rectify it. Of course, he is in the lead group, so top 12 still very much on the cards. Night Wisdom. Inward 3.5. In a tuck position. Seventh going into this dive. His fourth. Goes through the somersaults, but just keeps on going. 51. 256.5 for 4 dives.
Rafael Forgacha. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists right.
Brazilian Forgacha. This forward 2.5 somersault, 2 twists. He's been quietly going about his business here in 5th placing after the first 3 rounds. Judges will have noted that entry and they'll mark him accordingly. Five and 5.5, 54.4, so he will slip down a few places. 6 divers to go to complete his 4th round. Jandard needing a good dive here. He's back in 14th place. And he comes up with a beauty. 3.5 degree of difficulty there. The reverse. He had the 1.5 somersault and 3.5 twists along the way. And that is a beautiful dive. Well, he needed a big score, and I fancy he's come up with one. He's come up with an 84. That is excellent. Really good. Real delight there. Sakai. Just the 3.0 degree of difficulty there for the back 2.5 somersaults. And not quite at the vertical there. So he'll remain in that that group that's around that 12th placing, 63, 267.3. Now, Uribe dropped from 4th down to 11th after his 3rd round dive, so a chance to make up some points again. This inward 3.5 somersault tuck, the 3.4. As we watch through the air and doesn't quite hold it long enough. So he won't make up too much. He was back in 11th and now 56.1. So he needs 2 good dives to finish off. Back we go. Chow, currently 3rd. 3.4. This is an inward 3.5 somersault tuck. Oh yes, the silver medalist from Gwangju. He won his 4th World Championship gold medal last night, and he's going to be right in contention when the medals are to be decided tomorrow in this men's 3-metre springboard. 3.4 in that tuck position as he somersaults, and the judges, let's see what they thought about that. They're taking a little while. Finally, they come up, 81.6, so 8's count here for Chow. And he advances to 306.7. Jack Law, 2nd, going into this 4th round. 3.6, so the degree of difficulty is edging up. Back 3.5 somersault tuck. The finish is not exactly what he was after here. Good through flight, but far from vertical as he met the water. So he'll be working on that. Look at the grimace on his face. And he tries to straighten it up, but the legs are out the back. Disappointing dive here for Jack Law, 54. Wang. Now, Wang struggled with this dive this morning as well. This is the only one he really missed. The judges awarding him 5.5. This reverse 3.5 somersault tuck. He can consolidate his position at the top of the leaderboard. Certainly will score much better than he did this morning. In fact, in terms of the scores in this 4th round this morning, 55 starters. And incredibly, Wang was back with a 32nd highest scoring dive for that round. So he had to recover, and he was able to do so. But this certainly is not one of his top dives here at the moment. Just waiting for the scores. At 57.75 this morning. And this is considerably better, 87.5. He's back in business. Scores after round 4, Wang and Chow. China 1-2 again. Law dropping back to third. Night Wisdom in the hot seat, 256. He's 4 points clear of 13th at the moment. That's Wieseman. Bit of a gap after that, Marsalia, so they might be starting to sort themselves out a little bit in terms of the top 12.
Haruki Suyama.
2 rounds remaining in this semi-final. Suyama with a reverse 3.5 somersault. He's in 9th place. Wants to keep it that way. And he should score pretty well. As we have a look at him off this 3-metre springboard, he goes through the 3.5 somersaults. Not super pleased with it, but 63, it certainly keeps him in the reckoning there.
Escalona, forward 4.5 somersaults with tuck.
3.8. Tough dive coming up here for Carlos Escalona in 18th position. It's a good dive. He scored 79.8 with this dive, with the judges awarding him 7s this morning. Making it through, and he's around that mark again here. 72.2, 6 and 6.5 this time. Marsalia in 16th, so at the moment he's around 40 points behind the 12th place getter. It's a good dive there from the Italian. A 3.4 degree of difficulty, so he's still in the mix there in terms of the top 12. 71.4, 289. Here's the 4-round total. Guillaume Dutoit, 14th. (13 points behind Night Wisdom in 12th placing at the start of this round. The legs were tucked up. He just needed more room. Didn't quite get the height he needed, and that affected his entry. So that's going to be a disappointing score as far as Dutoit is concerned, just when he needed a good one, 45.9. Alex Hart in 15th placing, so he needs to pull out a good dive here to close the gap on the top 12. I'm not sure about his prospects here. Yes, some muted applause from his coaches. Reverse 2.5 somersault. 3.0 degree of difficulty, so the scores, the multiplying factor, won't help all that much. A 37.5. Rafael now. A reverse 3.5 somersault tuck at 3.5 in 8th placing. So a few problems there on entry as far as he's concerned as well.
2.5, 3, 2.5, 2.5, 3, 2.5.
28. Could be a bit of a problem there for Rafael. He's got one dive remaining. Bouillet in 6th placing. So he's going along pretty comfortably here. A consistent set of dives.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, 7. Jordan Holden.
67.5 continues this consistent form. One dive remaining. In 10th placing now. Holden with this back 3.5 somersault tuck. Tenth placing, and he is going to slide down a touch as well. He had the chance to consolidate. Just couldn't get the entry right at all. And 48.6. 307.85. Now here is Morales, currently 17th. This is his toughest dive, this forward 2.5 somersault with 3 twists at 3.9. Just a touch on the short side there. Big scoring dives, they carry a lot of risk. They do have big rewards if you get it right. 44.85. Moving our way through to Wieseman now at 13th position. 4.5 somersaults here. And he got them. Well, this was his best dive in the preliminaries. The judges gave him 7s. He came up with a score just shy of 80. And this is at least as good as that dive that he executed earlier. Have a look at the scores. 81.7. So, yes, the 7.5 in there as well as the 7s. Excellent dive. Yonanite Wisdom at 12th. There's a lot around that mark. 3.5 degrees of difficulty here. The reverse 3.5 somersault. Just not quite straight as he wanted to be when he entered the water. The 27-year-old. He made the semi-finals at the Olympics in Tokyo. He finished in 15th placing. He's already made the semis here. A score of 52.5, though. He's going to be on edge, waiting for his last round dive. Now, Forgacha. He's been going under the radar a little here. Hasn't made a mistake, doesn't want to make a mistake with his second last round dive here. Back 2.5 somersault pike, 3.0. Not too much of a splash at all there. That's a lovely entry for Rafael in 7th placing after the first 4 rounds. Yep, certainly no damage done here. May not improve his position all that much, but a safe dive. 63 with the 7s counting here. Round 5. He's currently 4th, the Frenchman. Oh, yes. He was yes through the air, but then once again couldn't quite straighten it as he would have liked. And that's the end result. He got so much height off the board going through those 3.5 somersaults. And that entry let him down and cost him points. 5 and 5.5, 54.25. Should safely progress, you would think, bar an incident in the last round. Sakai. That is going to cost him dearly. Cost him dearly very much. Reverse 3.5 somersault tuck as we watch him again, and his legs are bent over. That is a disaster as far as Sakai is concerned. 19.25. Uribe, 3.6. The 4th last of the dives in round 5 here. Uribe currently 11th. Nice entry there. Body not quite straight, but not too much water at all coming up there. Should score well. 70.2. 6.5s there for Uribe. He's well placed. So too is this man, Chow. 3.6 now with his second last dive. Back 3.5 somersault tuck. Just see that entry. Leg starting to flip over a little bit. Bound to score well, though. You just expect this from the Chinese, don't you? In the 80s, 84.6. They do so much. Absolutely right. Jack Law now in 3rd placing. 3.8 for Law. He keeps upping the ante here. Lovely. And he'll up the ante even more with his last dive as well at 3.9. His forward 4.5 somersaults. spins around. And he makes his entry there. So Law lying third coming into this round. And the judges taking their time. British swimming very proud of the performances of Law and Tom Daly. 91.2. Great scoring. The H count here for Law. And now Wang, our competition leader. 3.6. This is a back 3.5 somersault tuck. He scored very well with this dive earlier today. Just ripped it. Yes, he scored 8 and a 7.5 from the judges this morning for an 84.6. He is our competition leader here. And we wait to see what the judges thought of this one. Jack Law is in second place. And we'll see how they stack up when we tally the scores after 5 rounds. Scores coming up. Oh yes, 91.8. Wang, better than this morning. Still some post-mortems. The scores after 5 rounds. Wang and Chow setting the way. This is a big lead for Wang. Chow in second. 8 points adrift is Law. Now it's Aravelo who's down there in the danger zone at 290, just in front of Dutoit at 289. Holden is 17 points clear in 11th place, so he's starting to feel relatively confident. Aravelo, I mentioned, Dutoit, Marsalia, Sakai, all with a chance. So the final round is about to get underway now. Reverse 1.5 somersault, 3.5 twists here for Suyama. Suyama in 9th placing, couldn't afford a mistake. It's certainly not a mistake there. Not perfect either, but scores pretty well, you would think, and that should book him comfortably through. So Sakai with 68.25. Escalona now. He's moved up a couple of spots from 18th to 16th. He had real problems with his second round dive here. Escalona. So scores here of 58.5, and that completes his competition. Some 6.5s in there. Now Marsalia, he's one of those divers I mentioned around that 12th placing, currently 14th. This is at 3.8. And he's going to score pretty well. This forward 4.5 somersaults. It's putting him in the reckoning there. Yes, he was only a point or two away from 12th placing. Comes up with 66.5. Now, position 13 for Dutoit. What can he come up with? He may have done enough as well. Plenty of divers still to come in this semi-final at a position 13. He'll be anxiously looking to see what the judges thought of that, because he may have just squeezed into the top 12 with that dive. 71.4. Sevens count. Alex Hart. This was his best dive in the preliminary rounds with a 73. I think he's too far off that top group to make it through. 57.8 for Hart. Aravelo. Drop right down the rankings after being in the top 6. Currently ranked 12th. This at 3.4, an inward 3.5 somersault tuck. And that should get him through. We know that one diver has been confirmed into the final. That was the Japanese diver there, Haruki Suyama, who was the first to go in round 6. He has qualified for the final. And Aravelo with 66.3. 356 in total. Let's see if he's done enough. Bouillet now in 5th placing. Oh, lovely dive there from Bouillet. 3.4 degree of difficulty for this forward 2.5 somersault with those 2 twists. And he is bound to score very well. So he will be looking good when the final comes along. A score there of 74.8, and he can start thinking about tomorrow. Holden. Lovely entry. That was beautiful through the air. Nice takeoff. Forward, 4.5 somersaults, and a nice clean entry there. And that was a lovely dive. Big scoring dive. So 89.3 for Holden. 6-round total, 397. They are delighted. What a way to finish. What confidence to take into the final. Now Morales slipped right down the rankings, back in 8th spot now. Inward 3.5 somersault. been a little bit inconsistent his round. Comes up with some mid-range scores here. 5 and 5.5 there. Total of 54.4, so 315.3. Morales. Now, Wiesemann. He moved up into 4th placing after 5 rounds. This at 3.9, so he's put it on the line, but if it comes off, he'll score very well. Indeed, he will score beautifully. Forward, 2.5 somersault, the 3 twists, and he will go through and compete in the medal round. Lovely dive there from Wiesemann.
Jamaica.
74.1, so we have another finalist here, 4:08.15. So Yannanite Wisdom now. He's a little short on entry there. In 10th placing after 5 rounds. This, the 4.5 somersaults, doesn't quite have the time to straighten up. So that places him in some danger of missing out, you'd think. 45.6. 4's counting here for the Jamaican. Forgacha in 7th placing. Very straight as he hit the water there, Forgacha. He's had some really impressive dives throughout this competition, and he, with this dive, will undoubtedly secure his spot in the final. 56 for Forgacha. Yandard of France in 8th place. 3.4 degree of difficulty for this forward 2.5 somersault. 2 twists. And he executes nicely, so he should be fine. Let's have a look. Just that entry. Yeah.
7, 6.5, 7, 6.5,
He's done enough.
6.5.
Total there of 68, 394.4. He moves into the final. Now here is Sakai. 3.1 degree of difficulty. Forward 3.5 somersaults, so he was back in 15th placing. Interesting to see if he has done enough to make up some lost ground. 74.4, that places him 8th, and that should be enough to get him into the final. In fact, that I can confirm. He's made it through. Now Aribe in 6th placing. Aribe, Chow, Law and Wang still to come. Oh, beautiful dive there from the Colombian. He just floated through the air after he'd finished those somersaults. Lovely dive. Good score, 84. The 8's counting there for Aribe. Now Chow. Now Chow missed this dive in the preliminaries. He got a 3 and 3.5. Total of 38. And that really let him down. No problems this time. Beautiful dive there. Yes, V for victory. Every chance it will be. Jack Law might have a big say in it. But, yes, he had all sorts of problems with that dive this morning. A total of 38. And he's rectified that in the few hours since. How he has rectified it. 91.2 for Chow. He is back. Jack Law now. Law is finishing here with a 3.9 forward 2.5 somersault twist in third placing after 5 dives. Well, this is the highest degree of difficulty for him at 3.9. It gave him his highest score in the preliminaries, and it looks like he'll go close to matching that here. Up he goes. 2.5 somersaults, the 3 twists there for Law. The facial expression, the stress, the tension, evident there, but job done. Well done, Jack Law, 85.5. 469.65 is the 6-round total. We'll see you again tomorrow, Jack. And here is Wang Zhongwan. This was his best dive this morning. He got into the 90s. What can he do this time? 3.8 degree of difficulty. Excellent. Just beautiful. Wang, who has been so good throughout. And he is setting the bar high here. This 20-year-old from China. He won a gold medal at the last World Championships. That was in the 1 metre. And he's shaping as the man to beat here for the gold medal when this final comes around. Oh, look at that. 102.6. And we have 9s there for Wang. What a way to finish. Absolutely magnificent. And we'll just check on anything he can improve upon. That is the detail the Chinese go into. What a performance by the 2 Chinese competitors there, Wang and Chow. We'll check on the placings in just a moment. They've got a lot to look forward to, the Chinese fans. They love their diving. So much success for their young divers at Olympic and World Championship level. And they are certainly favoured to take gold in this event in about 24 hours' time. So the final standings here in the semi-final, Wang and Chow. Wang by a big margin over Chow. 13 points adrift was Law. Now, 12th placing taken by Sakai. Sakai with 360.95, and he was 4 points clear of the chasing pack there. So Sakai making it through. Aravalo missing out, Marsalia missing out, and Night Wisdom missing out as well. A fascinating semi-final competition here. And there's a lot to look forward to once this final arrives. The men's 3-metre springboard. Yes, China with such a wonderful record here. They've won this event a record 8 times at the World Championships. Each of the last 7. And you have to go back to 2005 since a non-Chinese competitor won. Well, Jack Law will have a say in the final, but he is going to need to be at his absolute best and hope that the Chinese competitors make a mistake or two along the way, Wang and Chow. It's been an excellent competition. We started with 55 divers this morning. And we made it through with 37 eliminated to the top 18 here. 6 rounds. Some divers had their ups and downs in terms of the scoring, but the leading lights were never really challenged. The standings moved around a little bit in positions, well, 4 through 10. But there was great consistency with the Chinese competitors, Wang and Chow, and Jack Law as well. So what's the margin there? About 65 points in the end between Wang and Chow. And then another 13 points back to Jack Law. A lot to look forward to when the final comes around. That'll be the 3rd of our finals here at the Duna Arena, after we had many of these competitors in this event featuring last night in the 3-metre synchro final, taken out by China. And later on today, we look forward to the 2nd of our finals, and that'll be the women's platform event. Plenty to celebrate for the Chinese diving fraternity there. Yes, our next event is coming your way in just over an hour from now. That's the women's 10-metre platform final. And once again, China are bound to have a big say in this. They have the top 2 qualifiers there. So we look forward to your company for that. I hope you enjoyed the competition here in semi-final time of the men's 3-metre springboard.